Welcome to Friendly Math 101. Today our lesson is on solving one-step equations. In order for you to understand the concept of solving equations, you have to know how to apply inverse operations. And so let's take a look at our first example. Here we have x plus 7 equals 16. X represents some sort of unknown number. But most people could probably look at this and think, well, 9 plus 7 is what would equal 16. However, eventually the problems are going to get more complicated and you have to understand how to solve it using inverse operations. So we know that 7 is being added to x. The inverse operation that would have to be applied here would be the opposite of addition, because that's what we're trying to undo. So the opposite of addition would be subtraction. So we're going to subtract 7 on this side, and whatever we do to one side of our equation, we have to do to the other side of our equation. So we're going to subtract 7 over here. Positive 7 minus 7 zeroes out, and we're left with x is equal to 9, which we already knew because 9 plus 7 is equal to 16. Let's take a look at another example. Here we have a one-step equation involving subtraction. So looking at this problem, a lot of people could probably think, well, what number minus 13 would equal negative 5? But again, if you understand the inverse operations, it makes the problem a lot easier. We know that a number subtracted by 13 will equal negative 5. We could apply the inverse operation, which is addition. We're going to add 13 here. Whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. And negative 13 plus 13 zeroes out. We're left with m is equal to 8. And if we want to check our answer, we would substitute it back in for m. 8 minus 13 does equal negative 5. Let's take a look at another example. Here we have a one-step equation involving multiplication. Whenever a number and a variable are touching, that represents multiplication. To undo that process, we're going to apply the inverse operation of multiplication, which is division. So we'll divide by 3 here, divide by 3 here. 3 divided by 3 ones out, because 3 divided by 3 is 1. We're left with k is equal to 9. And if we want to check our answers, substitute this back in. 3 times 9 does equal 27. And so we know that we did this correctly. One more example. Here we have a one-step equation that involves division. R divided by negative 6 equals 4. So in order for us to undo the division, we would have to apply the inverse operation of division, which is multiplication. So here we're going to multiply by negative 6. Whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. And the negative 6 divided by negative 6 will 1 out. We're left with R is equal to 4 times negative 6, which is negative 24. Again, if we were to substitute this back into our original equation, negative 24 divided by negative 6 is in fact 4. And so we know that we did this correctly. That concludes our lesson for today on solving one-step equations. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave those in the comment section below. And for more math tutorials, subscribe to our channel, Friendly Math 101.